Hello everyone, I am Kiran Joshi. Here I am presenting the first video of class 7 history, chapter 4, the Mughal Empire. In the previous chapter, the Delhi Sultans, we learnt that it was extremely difficult to control and rule the vast empire which was expanded in a large area of Indian subcontinent. But in contrast to this, the Mughals not only expanded their kingdom to nearly the whole of the subcontinent but also administered and governed in such a way that they could rule nearly all of the subcontinent for almost 2 centuries. We learn about the Mughals through this video. First of all, let's understand their ancestry. The Mughals were descendants of the two great families of rulers. From their mother's side, they were descendants of Genghis Khan, the Mongol ruler who ruled over parts of China and Central Asia. And from their father's side, they were the descendants or successors of Temur, the ruler of Iran, Iraq, and modern day Turkey. Though Mughals never liked to be called Mughal or Mongols because the term Mongol was associated with the memory of Genghis Khan, who massacred or killed innumerable people. The Mughals were proud that they were the descendants of Temur for many reasons, among which the one was that Temur had captured Delhi in 1398. The Mughals proudly celebrated their association or ancestry with Temur. Each Mughal ruler got a picture made of Temur and himself. The first Mughal emperor in India was Babur from 1526 to 1530. Babur inherited a throne of Farghana, Uzbekistan in 1494 at the early age of 12 years. But due to the invasion of another Mongol group, which were called Uzbeks, he had to leave his ancestral throne. In 1504, he seized Kabul, and in 1526, he defeated Ibrahim Lodi, the Sultan of Delhi, at Panipat. This was the beginning of Mughal rule in India. Now let's have a look on the Mughal emperors, their major campaigns and other events. Let's begin again with the first Mughal emperor Babur. After defeating Ibrahim Lodi at Panipat in 1526, the next year in 1527 he defeated Rana Sanga, Rajput rulers and allies at Khanwa, and then in 1528 Babur defeated the Rajputs at Chanderi. Babur established control over Delhi and Agra before his death, and in this way founded the Mughal Empire in India. After his death, his son Humayun became the emperor. Humayun divided his inheritance among his brothers according to the wish or will of his father Babur. Each of Humayun's brother was given a province. Humayun was defeated by Sher Khan, an Afghan ruler, at uh, Chausa in 1539 and Kannauj in 1540. He had to flee to Iran, where he received help from the Safavid Shah. In 1555, Humayun recaptured Delhi. The next year, in 1556, he died in an accident. Therefore, at the early age of 13 years, Akbar became the emperor. Akbar's ruling period can be divided into three parts. Three parts or three period we can say. So, first period is from 1556 to 1570. In the early years of his reign, he was guided and supported by Bairam Khan and other members of his domestic staff. Then he became independent of the regent Bairam Khan and started military campaigns against Suris and other Afghans, against the neighboring kingdoms of Malwa and Gondwana. Military campaigns were also launched to suppress the revolt of his stepbrother Mirza Hakim and Uzbeks. In 1568, Akbar seized the Sisodia capital of Chittor, and in 1569 he seized Ranthambore. In this way, we can say that during the first period of his reign, he launched his military campaigns in the west. The years between 1570 and 1585 can be considered as the second period of Akbar's reign, in which he started the military campaigns in the east. These campaigns were in Bihar, Bengal, and Orissa. The 1579 and 1580 revolt in support of Mirza Hakim created complications in Akbar's campaigns. The third period of Akbar's reign, that is 1585 to 1605, was the period of expansion of his empire. He launched his military campaigns in the northwest and seized uh, Kandahar from Safavids. Kashmir was annexed. Kabul was also annexed after the death of Mirza Hakim. He started his campaign in the Deccan, and Berar, Khandesh and parts of Ahmednagar were annexed. But in the last years of his reign, Akbar was distracted because Prince Salim, later known as Jahangir, rebelled uh, against the Emperor Akbar. The next in the line of rulers was Jahangir, who ruled from 1605 to 1627. He continued the military campaigns that were started by Akbar. The Sisodia ruler of Mewar, Amar Singh, accepted Mughal service. The campaigns against the Sikhs, the Ahoms, and Ahmednagar were less successful. In the last years of his reign, Prince Khurram, the future Emperor Shah Jahan, rebelled against Jahangir. Noor Jahan, Jahangir's wife, tried to make Shah Jahan less powerful or weak, but could not succeed in that. In 1627, Shah Jahan became the emperor. He continued the Mughal campaigns in the Deccan. The Afghan noble Khan Jahan Lodi rebelled and had to face defeat. He started campaigns against Ahmednagar, defeated Bundelas, and seized Orcha. The military campaigns to seize bulk from Uzbeks in the northwest was unsuccessful. Safavids were also successful in to seize Kandahar from Mughals. In 1632, Shah Jahan annexed Ahmednagar, and the Bijapur forces pleaded or requested to make peace with Shah Jahan. In 1657-1658, Shah Jahan's sons had conflict for the succession of the throne, in which Aurangzeb was victorious and his three brothers Dara Shuko, Murad Baksh and Shah Shuja were killed. Aurangzeb imprisoned Shah Jahan in Agra till his death. Thus, Aurangzeb became the emperor in 1658 and ruled till 1707. He defeated the Ahoms in the north east in 1663. However, the Ahoms rebelled again in 1680s. In the northwest, he defeated the Yusufjai and the Sikhs in his campaigns and was temporarily successful also. The Rathore Rajputs of Marwar started to rebel due to the Mughal interference in their succession and internal politics. Mughals started interfering in their internal politics. This was not tolerable to Rathore Rajputs. Initially, the Maratha chieftain Shivaji was defeated by Aurangzeb in his campaigns, but Aurangzeb insulted Shivaji and Shivaji escaped from Agra. He declared himself an independent king and continued his campaigns against the Mughals. Prince Akbar rebelled against Aurangzeb. He got support from the Marathas and the Deccan Sultanate and finally fled to Safavid Iran. Aurangzeb, after Prince Akbar's rebellion, sent armies against Deccan Sultanate. He annexed Bijapur in 1685 and Golconda in 1687. From 1698, Aurangzeb started to personally manage his campaigns in the Deccan against Marathas, who started guerrilla warfare. In North India, Aurangzeb had to face rebellion of the Sikhs, Jats, and Satnamis. Aurangzeb was challenged also by the rebellions of the Ahoms in the northeast and of the Marathas in the Deccan. After his death, Aurangzeb's sons started conflicting for the succession of the throne. Now, children, there are some questions for revision. So, the first question is, who were the Mughals? Second, who founded the Mughal rule in India and how? Third question, give an account of Akbar's rulership. Fourth question, describe the reign of Shah Jahan. Fifth question, how did Aurangzeb spread his empire? I hope, children, you liked this presentation and found it helpful. Thank you.